So just to compare between pelvic rotation and windsweeping, because they are two presentations that's often confused with clinicians. And I see this a lot within wheelchair services, but also in my roles privately with adults, children, and in training presentations. So pelvic rotation, as I said, is when the pelvis rotates. But if we only look at somebody from the front, if we never check from up above, looking down above, we won't always know the difference between pelvic rotation and windsweeping. So this is where it's important to check posteriorly what's going on from behind. So in pelvic rotation, we would see that the PSIS, so as I said, the back here, the PSIS would not be level, it would be rotated forwards. Whereas in windsweeping, if we're to check from the front, from above, and from... Sorry, I can hear somebody else. Sorry, I thought it was a question. So with windsweeping, what's happening? The legs sweep to one side while the trunk and the pelvis remain forward. So we'll often see this when there's a dislocation or a subluxation of the hip. They'll often be complaining of hip pain, chronic hip pain, and there's usually a strong tone or muscle imbalance. But it's important to understand the difference between pelvic rotation and windsweeping. And sometimes if we haven't done a thorough assessment, we wouldn't see that. So I would say if you're querying pelvic rotation versus windsweeping, the best way to assess for this is on a plinth always, and to look in supine lying, then you can see the difference. So there's not always a time within assessments, but I think it's really important when we're putting our name to pieces of equipment and our recommendations that we understand what are we reporting, what are we seeing.